I think there's many more dominoes to fall. The only thing that's the short-term reprieve is that you haven't seen Bitcoin go lower. But if Ben's right and it's going down to 10 or 12, or I'm right that it's going down there, or even if it gets to my worst case, which is like 3,500, you will see many, many more exposures of bad lending policy. And again, I just like to point this out is that, you get life insurance, they have actuaries that are calculating exactly the odds of you dying versus this. And I mean, if you get, I don't know how many people have taken out a mortgage out there that are watching, but I mean, they require basically everything, your blood, sweat.
Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Crypto. Bitcoin currently sits below the $20,000 support at around 19,300, give or take 20 bucks. With Wall Street now calling for doomsday, is it time to be paranoid? What should we expect going forward? Keep watching to find out as we answer these questions with Chief Marketing Strategist of InTheMoneyStocks.com, Gareth Soloway. In our previous video, we discussed the Chinese bank runs and the global economic downturn. In this video, we will learn from Soloway so we can make informed decisions and not be overwhelmed by fear or greed. Gareth Soloway was one of the few analysts that correctly predicted the drastic fall in the price of Bitcoin, even at the time when it was ridiculous to say so. Here, he warned that a drop to the $20,000 support was very likely. Many others laughed it off.
If you look right here, there's a pivot high, pivot high, pivot high, and then we broke out. So that would be your new level right here to look at. So that would be your downside 40,000. And I think that would kind of coincide with that 428 to 430 level on the spiders. If we break below that, then the whole new game plan comes this low, which is at 30,000. That would be your next level to watch. So again, these are your next two levels. You've already hit this area, which is good support, and it's holding thus far. We're actually back above 49,000. So we'll have to see if my trade ends up working out. But again, if you go lower in the S&P, eventually you'll get to 40,000, then 30,000. And, hate to say it to people that are really just overly bullish, but I do think 20,000 is still in the cards. But again, folks, let me reiterate, it has to coincide with a big deleveraging. And when I say big deleveraging, I'm talking like 30 to 50% in the stock market. You'll get Bitcoin below 20,000. When I think Bitcoin has a good shot of bottoming out. I mean, we're talking about some major downside. I'm still in the camp that you're likely headed to 20,000 or below as an ultimate target. Again, 20,000 would be the 2017 high. I think you're seeing more and more the realization that the stock market is weakening and money's being pulled out. It's a de-risking going on, which is very, very bad for Bitcoin since Bitcoin trades off of the NASDAQ essentially with de-risking. And you have to see this washout. I've said this from day one, going back to, our in-person interview in Dubai last October, that you have to see this full washout. You almost have 20,000 cryptocurrencies. There should only be like 20. And so you have to see this .com type flush out where a lot of these go away. And then ultimately from the dust will rise the best of breed, very Darwinian in that, and they will succeed and they will flourish, and Bitcoin will see 500,000 and we'll see $1 million. So ultimately midterms, next 6 to 12 months, 20,000 at minimum, maybe lower. But again, that is my midterm 12 month target.
But even then, why did we not reach new all-time highs? Could it be that we did not see 70K because the all-time high did not hold long enough?
Notice how you closed one day above it here and then reversed, and then you closed one day above it, never closed above that high. So the confirmation signal, this is a signal I created. It's very accurate in determining what's a true breakout versus a fake breakout. And so when you close above it, you need one of the subsequent candles to close above the high of that breakout candle. In neither situation that happened. To me, that's telling me you have institutions or big money or whales unloading into it, and it's likely a fake breakout, and that's exactly what ended up happening.
So we might wonder, where is the flagship cryptocurrency headed right now? Should we say 10K or $30,000? Soloway explains that bear and bull markets go much further than predicted. That is why he says DCA is so amazing. In one of our previous videos, Soloway clearly explains what DCA is. Feel free to check it out.
That's exactly the way investors should think. What you got to think, for me at least, what I'm looking for is actually a bounce here where a lot of those people will start to get bullish and you'll start to sway people. So I'm still looking for a bounce back to about 25.5, maybe even 28. And I'll just show you the chart here. So this line right here is the 2017 high. Obviously, we pierced it a couple times, but it's held up. What we can do is we can create a couple trend lines here. So number one, we can do this trend line down here from these highs and then this trend line right up here. So you're creating what's called a wedge. I have it penciled in where we should break out of the wedge, and then you ultimately should head down to basically this level here, or head up to this level in the near term. So I am bullish Bitcoin near term. I don't think it lasts. I still am in the camp that it probably goes to 12 to 13, like you're saying. I don't know about 10. 10 is going to have a lot to do with the adoption rate, whether or not the politicians get their act together and put some good quality regulation in the system. But one thing I've learned, and I'll say this, guys, bear markets and bull markets go much further in the opposite direction than you ever think. So like in the bull markets, they go way higher than I ever fathom. In the bear markets, they go way lower than I could ever imagine. And that's just the way it is. So be ready for anything. That's why dollar cost averaging is so amazing.
The chief financial officer explains his medium-term position on Bitcoin. Watch carefully.
What's interesting is you can see the opposite thing right over here, where you actually remember back last year, you actually were making the opposite pattern, and look at the direction it went. So when you're angling down, it's making investors feel more insecure, making investors feel more bearish, and therefore price is going to go the opposite of retail investors and going to go up usually. When you go this way, this is luring investors in. They're trying to con you in, not con literally, but it's trying to fake you out in terms of the price action. And this one breaks down. So again, people are saying, well, isn't this the same as this? And the answer is no, it's not. This was a down sloping channel. It breaks up. Upsloping channels tend to break down.
His analysis continues.
When I think Bitcoin has a good shot of bottoming out. I mean, we're talking about some major downside. I'm still in the camp that you're likely headed to 20,000 or below as an ultimate target. Again, 20,000 would be the 2017 high. I think you're seeing more and more the realization that the stock market is weakening and money's being pulled out. It's a de-risking going on, which is very, very bad for Bitcoin, since Bitcoin trades off of the NASDAQ essentially with de-risking. Yeah. And you have to see this washout. I've said this from day one, going back to, our in-person interview in Dubai last October, that you have to see this full washout. You almost have 20,000 cryptocurrencies. There should only be like 20. And so you have to see this .com type flush out where a lot of these go away. And then ultimately from the dust will rise the best of breed, very Darwinian in that, and they will succeed and they will flourish, and Bitcoin will see 500,000 and we'll see $1 million. So ultimately midterms, next 6 to 12 months, 20,000 at minimum, maybe lower. But again, that is my midterm 6-12 month target.
Now, 950 investors in a Bloomberg survey were asked this question: where do you think Bitcoin will land in the near term? It should not surprise you that 60% chose $10,000 over $30K. Plus, companies going insolvent are not helping the overall sentiments in the crypto market, with domino after domino falling in the wake of Terra Luna or Luna Guard Foundation collapse. Is that the end of the whole domino effect with crypto companies? If not, when are we going to see the end? Could it be that we are already in the mop-up phase, or are there more dominoes to fall? Gareth Soloway gives his predictions on the basis of his decades of experience.
I think there's many more dominoes to fall. The only thing that's the short-term reprieve is that you haven't seen Bitcoin go lower. But if Ben's right and it's going down to 10 or 12, or I'm right that it's going down there, or even if it gets to my worst case, which is like 3,500, you will see many, many more exposures of bad lending policy. And again, I just like to point this out is that, you get life insurance, they have actuaries that are calculating exactly the odds of you dying versus this. And I mean, if you get, I don't know how many people have taken out a mortgage out there that are watching, but I mean, they require basically everything: your blood, sweat, tears, and your firstborn.
On the death of these companies, Soloway asks, how could anyone think nothing could possibly go wrong? They have been tossing out unsustainable returns on investments. He adds that he has been in the market for too long not to see this coming. The investors in these businesses have been getting incredible returns compared to dividends from stocks. With stocks, Soloway points out, you get 3% dividend per annum at most, compared to 30% from these crypto companies that are now collapsing. He hints that there are still a lot of shady characters out there, so keep your eyes peeled, guys. British fintech company Revolut is partnering with Polkadot, focusing on education, a crypto-based model of learning and earning. Very soon, people will go ahead to port over millions from Bitcoin into Polkadot. Is Wall Street excited about this model of learn and earn? Soloway answers.
I think that if there's money involved, then Wall Street's going to get excited about it, right? So they're always looking, and you know that like banks like Goldman and JPM and all these other big players, they always have their feelers out. And I'm a firm believer that even as much as we saw some of the big bank CEOs trashing crypto early on, they were absolutely watching it and thinking, okay, how can we use this to our advantage? How can we invest and make money? And then what we saw is they started to allow some of their customers to actually play in crypto and trade so that they could make fees and stuff like that. So I think that you're absolutely right, is that if there's money on the line, if there's money to be made, that you will absolutely see Wall Street players get involved.
You should know that in the long run, Gareth Soloway is bullish on Bitcoin, as we all should be, since it is revolutionizing the financial world with its very unique features, one of which is the decentralization of finance, and the other perks like smart contracts and DAOs, that is, decentralized autonomous organizations, that are bringing a whole new level of utility for blockchains in the crypto space. Although we expect things to get worse before they get better, let's not be overwhelmed by fear so we fail to see the bigger picture. There is every reason to expect Bitcoin will be bullish into the future, since this is the alternative to fiat that cannot be printed willingly and can be transferred electronically compared to assets like gold. In his earlier analyses, Soloway had mentioned that it usually takes about 12 months for Bitcoin to bottom out, followed by a 6-month period of ups and downs. So you can go ahead and mark the calendars at mid to late 2023 for the next bull run.
I hope at least, in the very least, I save some people some heartache and some hardships by hopefully making them be a little bit more conservative.
Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to smash the like button, share our video with your friends and family, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you on the next one. Until then, bye.